Hello and welcome to the Noob Spearo podcast, where we interview experts, authorities and characters on all things spearfishing. Come and join us after the show at noobspearo.com, the online spearfishing community helping you to become a better spearo. Here are your hosts for the show, Shrek and Turbo.
G'day Noob Spearo community. Today we are off to Cyprus to hear about deep diving in the Mediterranean. Our guest Anvar Mufasalov is the creator of the Deep Spearfishing Encyclopedia, a YouTube channel which is a guide to improving yourself in the disciplines of high performance spearfishing. Anvar hails from Kazakhstan, but he has made Cyprus his home. Anvar, are you happy to get away from your Uncle Borat?
Oh yeah, it's lovely here, and not a lot of people ask me about him, but so it's pretty good.
Ah, that's good.
So far, so good.
All right, Anvar. So, Turbo, you want to?
Yeah, mate. Why don't you tell us a little bit about where you got started in the world of spearfishing? Spishing.
We're going really good with this.
Well, I started 5 or 6 years ago. I remember we were hitchhiking with a friend of mine. We went to a very distant place here in the island. We were lucky to meet some Cypriots who, well, at that time, I never even thought you could hunt fish under the water. I never thought you could actually dive to 10 meters. I just never bothered.
Yep.
And that lucky day, there was a guy who gave us a ride, a Cypriot. He said, look, if you guys are stuck, you could come to this place. It's my friend's restaurant, and we could go spearfishing or we could do something. And at the time, I had no idea about it. So, of course, we were stuck. We missed all the hitchhikers, we missed all the alternatives to leave this place.
Yeah.
So we ended up at the restaurant, and we spent the night there. The next morning, they gave us this very, let's say, a budget version gun with a green plastic toxic handle and some, I don't know, 14 millimeter rubber band and some weird, I don't know, let's say bad Chinese technology. And it was a blast. It was the first time I was in the water with a gun with the mask. It was incredible. I was hooked. I was shooting little fish that were honestly 10 centimeters big.
Yeah.
Of course, the first time
Pretty
they
much
looked,
what Turbo does after a few years.
well, you improve with time. Good
Yeah.
luck with that.
I thought I would, actually.
This is how I got started, and
That's cool.
from that time it was a continuous pursuit of knowledge and pursuit of experience.
Yeah. So what
But
sort of?
once you start, it's like a cycling bug, spearfishing bug. Once you start, it's so hard to change your mind, to give up, or not to do it again.
Yeah. So what were some of the early difficulties you had?
Well, the biggest difficulty I think most of us have in spearfishing as we start is the lack of the mentor or the lack of the people who are willing to invest their time and help you out with the technique or with the equipment. I think it's the same for all of us. And this is what I've been through. For example, I didn't know that you had to equalize for the first few months. And I thought that the pain would go away eventually until some kid on the street, he was like, hey, you know, you pinch your nostrils and you blow and it's like your ears pop. And it was a new life for me, or for my ear.
You're the second guest we've had that said the same thing. He only spent one day doing it though. You spent several weeks doing it. I applaud you for sticking with it.
Mate, I was just going to ask you quickly, what sort of fish species are you hunting in Cyprus? Is it?
We don't have as much pelagics, so mostly it's the reef fish, it's the groupers, it's the sea bream. We do have occasional amberjacks going in. We do have some tunas, but the tunas are usually very far offshore.
Yeah.
And for example, last night we were diving yesterday, and the guy saw something like a tuna at 15 meters deep.
Wow.
I haven't seen it. I was given a course a few kilometers away, but he was quite stoked about it.
Cool. Yeah, I would be. We don't see much tuna here. Some tuna hunting's very specific. A lot of guys go out.
Yeah.
They
You have
target
to go
it.
far out. There's chumming systems.
Yeah.
And we just bother with it, to tell you the truth.
So Dentex, is that another one you get there?
Yes. Dentex is probably the king of the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
It's the most careful fish. It's the one that would wear you out. It's the one that here in Cyprus, if they see the tip of your head or your gun,
Yep.
They're going to stay 15 meters away from you. They're going to check you out, but they're not going to come very close.
Wow.
Okay.
So even if you look at the competitions, the most points are awarded for Dentex.
Yep.
Because this is honestly the jewel of the Med.
Yep.
And how are the Dentex population numbers in Cyprus? Is there a lot of them, or?
Let's put it that way. When we dive, we see them, let's say, 4 or 5 times a day.
Yep.
Right.
It doesn't mean that you shoot one, but you do see them, and they're very careful. They don't taste as good, so I don't really get why people value them so much. But honestly, to shoot them or to catch them is a task.
Yeah, well. So conditions around Cyprus, what's it like there?
Ooh, the water is usually beautiful. You said at your part of Australian coast, it's quite murky, up to 50 kilometers or whatever, very far out. Here, the water is usually quite clean, so you have a 30, 35 meter visibility.
Wow.
Technically, if you are far out and the water depth is around 30, 35, you see the silhouettes, you see the sand on the bottom, you see where the rocks are. You don't see the fish, of course, but you know where you're diving. And yes, Cyprus has a lot of rocks, so the bottom structure is very cool. There are a few places where... Do you know who's a Titan from Greek mythology?
Yeah. Yep.
It's like those huge... Well, they look like men, but they were, let's say, 20 times bigger, 20 times taller.
Yep.
And there are places in Cyprus where you could imagine this Titan, I don't know, 30-meter tall guy with a giant fork.
Yeah.
And he was just wrecking the rocks, like going back and forth, back and forth.
Oh, okay.
So you have those structures with caves and columns and something that looks like a house, but not much fish though.
But amazing diving, like good visibility.
Yes, yes.
What about current? Are you putting up with current much?
The currents are at the
tips of the
they're
island?
not right at the coast, at the tips of the island.
Cool.
And it could get very scary sometimes. I've been to, I would speak about it a bit later, but I've been to a point when the current is so freaky that basically your hair stands up. My hair stood up, and there was this deep fear inside because you have no idea what's going on.
Now, Anvar, our audience don't have video at home, but I can see you don't actually have much hair, buddy.
What I say about it is that the brain, as you always learn and improve, the brain starts to push the hair out.
That's good. I like that. Well, no wonder Brown's got a full head of hair. He hasn't got much of a brain. All right. So, if you're going to share a story of a memorable fish, what really sticks out for you, Anvar? Like, have you got a stalk that you always sort of remember?
Well, yeah. I could share a few actually, and they showed how important the mental aspect of the sport is. I remember there was a day there is an area here in North Coast. It's called Balalan. I'm not sure what it means, but it's just Balalan. And there is an island. It's 1 kilometer outside, 1 kilometer offshore. It breaks the surface, and then it drops very deep. It was a year ago. We went to the same spot, let's say, in June the 1st, and I've had a very good Dentex. I've had a few groupers. I've seen a very good amberjacks. We finished, and I thought, okay, since I didn't shoot a lot of groupers, I could come here to the same spot maybe in a couple of days and just target the amberjacks, because the amberjacks go there. Well, they swim around the island. They like those very fast depth changes. Yeah. So I went in a couple of days, and it was a very empty day. I haven't seen anything. There was nothing. And I thought, okay, look, Anvar, the day is basically screwed, so you have to take control. I found a very nice spot right before the drop to 25. And I said, well, you have a couple of hours left. What if you just make dives and dives and dives and dives, basically ambushing the same spot over and over again until the fish comes?
Yeah, wow.
I honestly believe that this is a good strategy if you have enough time. And on my 7th or 8th dive, I've seen this, pretty big for our seas amberjack. It was a 24 kilo. Yeah. It just approached me right in the face. One shot, the fish just flipped. I came up and I thought, okay, Anvar, you should employ this technique more often, because there is this saying that if you push the wall too hard, either your brain will... either your skull crushes or the wall kind of goes through.
Yeah.
So this would be one of the advice for the guys who just start.
Yeah.
You have to continuously keep doing something. Don't expect and pay back just in a week or in a month.
That's great advice. So perseverance and really just sort of sticking to a technique and just keep doing it until you can do it well.
Yes. I think there's always fish, regardless of whether we come home with fish or without. There's always fish. Any place you go, any country, any depth, anything. But it's down to us to take control of the situation and actually get ourselves closer to that particular fish or to our prey.
Cool, good advice. Yeah, we've seen some, like we were having a look at guys spearfishing up in Alaska, and crazy
I
conditions.
actually wonder how it is. I think it's pretty cool there.
Yeah,
it looks cool.
It looks cool. Yeah, and
It should be quite good for fish because there's this the breeding grounds for whales and other animals.
And there's another guy we're having on the show. He's from Norway. Like 2-degree water all the time, and like just crazy. And so people all over the world love spearfishing. We have people listen to our show from an amazing range of countries that you think, well, do they do spearfishing there? Like even landlocked countries, so it's cool. It's good.
Even in New Zealand, they figured it out. I can't believe it.
Look at this guy. So, what would be your scariest moment you've had out spearfishing? What did you take away from it?
I think like most of us, or I want to believe that most of us are the same way. I think of the people around me more than I think of myself quite often. And it wasn't a very risky day or anything like that, but there was the time when it was 3 of us in a boat. It was me, my partner, and his father. His dad is spearfishing to the depths of, 25 meters.
Yep.
And we were diving a bit deeper. So he said, okay, guys, I'm bored with you. So I'm just going to head off to the shallower waters, and we're going to meet in an hour or so at the certain spot. So we did that. When me and my partner finished our diving, we couldn't find him where we agreed to meet, and it's just this awful feeling. That's the point why you should always dive in a pair. This awful feeling of someone. It was our choice to say, okay, you just swim and we're gonna hook up with you a bit later. We let him go, and then we couldn't find him for a good 20 minutes.
Wow.
And those ugly thoughts going through the mind, and it was a very scary moment.
Yeah, cool.
Right.
But well, yes, the most important thing is for you guys and for me and for all the people who actually go out to the sea to be with someone, because a lot of stuff could go wrong. Your fin could snap, you could shoot a tuna that's gonna drag you out, or there are so many little things that it's very risky. So you want to try to decrease the risk any way you can.
Yeah.
And you just said like he started diving in 25 meters of water and you were going deeper. What sort of depth are you spearfishing at? Where do you consider it good?
As I said, the fish is always everywhere, but I just love the deeper water. So our rocks my rocks at the time, they usually start at around 33, 32, and they go deeper.
Wow.
And I honestly believe that fishless day at deeper waters is better than a fishful day at shallower waters. I just love the feeling. I love the being able to use my technique. So
and you said something because you spear a lot of grouper, and you told me before the reasons for that. Can you tell us why that you go so deep for them?
Well, I think it's a bit ethical. I think spearfishing is a very ethical sport, and we have to take a lot of action and a lot of thinking about it.
Yeah.
A lot of people here in Europe, they hunt. Most of the people here in Europe, they hunt under the rocks. So basically, you have a flashlight, and you hunt the groupers which are at their houses or at their safe haven. Yeah. You see where the fish goes, you follow the fish, you dive in, and the fish is there. It will stay there for years if no one shoots it. It's its house, and the people here use the flashlight to get deep inside these holes and shoot the fish. I do use the flashlight sometimes if I think it's a very worthy fish, or if the fish is hurt already. But I just don't think it's worth going after every fish in the rocks. I think the fish should have their own privacy, should have their own safe houses.
Yeah. That's good. That's your own personal standard.
So I prefer to go deeper. The fish is usually less scared. They swim on the outside, and this is the combat at deeper waters, or the spearfishing at deeper waters, is much more fair. The the terms are more equal, balanced.
Yeah, okay. Cool.
And you wouldn't do, and we were saying before, like we're quite shallow divers and we dive a lot, but how many dives would you get in on a day at those sort of depths?
Usually we don't do less than 20, but I would say 40 is the max.
Yeah.
I wasn't really tracking this progress recently, but I can see myself doing 25, 30, but not more than 40, because it becomes very challenging to the body and the mind, of course.
There are some guys here in Australia that dive a bit similar to you guys, Anvar, and they do push some bottom times. It's completely different diving. There's long surface intervals. They have very rigorous buddy protocols, and because generally we're not getting 30 meters visibility, a lot of the time, it's a lot less. 10 to 15 meters on a good day is out where we are. Sometimes we do get better visibility, but it's interesting hearing how that works. I like how you've developed your own sort of personal ethical standard. That's good. I think most of the guys that have been in the sport for a few years do develop that, and when we're early on, we tend to. It takes a while to develop it anyway. But,
and this is one of the episodes of the Deep Spearfishing Encyclopedia called Respect.
Yeah.
It was just about it. Same thing in Cyprus. We find some rocks which were never, basically the people never dived there before, or people never dove there before. And there's lots of fish, hundreds of kilos of fish, but some people would think, okay, I'm going to go to the same spot up until I shoot all this fish because I want to have those photos with the fish, or I want to have a lot of fish at home, whatever. But as you guys probably know, the grouper, the weight gain of a grouper, basically the weight grows, is mega slow, dusky grouper. It gets, I think, like 100 grams its first year. When it's a juvenile, it gets 100 grams per year or something like that.
Yeah.
So let's say you guys shoot 30 kilo at a spot, I shoot 10 kilo, a few other guys shoot 50 kilo, and you have an empty spot for 5 years, 6 years, 10 years. So I think if we want to keep taking from the sea, we cannot really give much to the sea, but we should learn to control our taking.
In Cyprus, are there bag limits? How many dusky groper could I take on a day?
Well, there is something like a 5 kilo per day, but it's not enforced, and it's something it's not even a gentleman's agreement. Basically, once everyone was told that there is the bag limit, that's it. No one ever went back to it. No one ever reported it. No one ever asked about it.
Yeah.
So there's no enforcement of marine laws there at all?
Little, let's say. Not enough. Maybe not little, but not enough, for sure.
Yeah. How many spearos do you think there'd be on Cyprus, Anvar?
The population of the country is around 400,000, and I would say there would be a couple of hundred people spearfishing. There are, let's say, around 20 who dive to 30 and who hunt at around 30.
Yeah. And how successful? So these guys going out on any given day, what would be like an average or good catch for a Cypriot?
I don't think there is it would be fair to speak about the averages, because I remember days when you would go to sea weeks, for example, twice a week, and you would have 3-4 kilos.
Yep.
But on some days, there was a day this year already when we saw a few amberjacks and we shot quite good fish. If we were to shoot everything we tried to shoot, it would be 60-70 kilo.
Wow.
Yeah.
One of the amberjacks was around 30, another amberjack was 15, one more amberjack was 6. There were big groupers, but I would say average for me would be, I don't know, 10 kilos, so 3-4 fish.
Yeah,
Cool.
Okay. That's pretty reasonable.
All right, now you mentioned your deep spearfishing encyclopedia before. It is time for the Veterans Vault with Barnacle Bob.
Where is he?
He's there.
There he is.
Arrgh! It's time to open the Veterans Vault!
All right, so tell us a little bit about that. I've got... so I said in the introduction that Deep Spearfishing Encyclopedia is a guide to improving yourself in the disciplines of high-performance spearfishing. You've got 5 episodes up on your YouTube channel. Tell us a little bit about them.
The initial goal for the Deep Spearfishing Encyclopedia was to provide a motivation or to to provide an insight on actually the deeper aspect of spearfishing, because I strongly believe that you cannot just keep spearfishing and improve the depth. You have to actually put a lot of thought into it. And I highlighted 5 areas. Well, up until now, it was supposed to be 5, but now people say we want a Spanish one, we want this one, so it might go on.
Yeah.
But I highlighted 5 areas which I thought to be very important, and they were relaxation, patience, awareness, respect, and one called Carpe Diem, which is embracing the moment. I think those 5 highlight, they're the fundamentals of becoming a better Spearo overall.
That's
and,
good.
Well, being deeper specifically.
Okay, so relaxation. What do you talk about in your video for relaxation?
In the first part was the relaxation. It was quite choppy for me because it was the first part. I didn't have a straight plan of what I wanted to do. But off the start, there were 2 aspects of relaxation. Well, there are 2 aspects for me. One is the mental relaxation and one is physical.
Okay.
They are mega connected, and I don't think you could be a good spearfisher if you don't know how to relax properly. Because, well, free diving is relaxation, so spearfishing is relaxation. And I just highlighted a few tips about being relaxed in the water, your proper body position, yada, yada, yada. I spoke about trying to kind of let the stress go. And when you're in the water, you have to be in the water. Your mind doesn't, it should not be outside thinking about your job, your kids, your wife, your stress, your loan, whatever it is. You should be there. You should focus on one thing. And this is when the performance comes. And well, yes, just to go back to the Deep Spearfishing Encyclopedia, one of the biggest goals I had was not to give answers, however, to motivate people to think. If we were speaking and if we were just saying this is better, this is worse, people don't really get the idea. It goes through one ear, it leaves through another. So the point of the encyclopedia was to give questions so that people would try to find the answers themselves. And I think this is what I try to stick to.
So, you give a couple of things there for the patients. So all of these topics, we got relaxation, patience, awareness, respect, and Carpe Diem. Talk to us a little bit about Carpe Diem, like seizing the moment.
Oh yeah, this was to me the funniest episode for me. It was in Greek, and yeah, I should be honest, I don't speak Greek, but I have a lot of Greek friends, and they helped me learn to speak Greek quite often. So, for example, now you will know that thalassa is the sea in Greek. Thalassa.
Thalassa.
Yeah, there you go. This is one of the word. Yeah, that's one word that I remember. A few other words. Anyway, but yeah, Carpe Diem was about being in the moment and embracing the moment that you have, trying to focus on here and now, and not thinking about just shooting fish, but enjoying the experience overall, enjoying being in the water, enjoying seeing the fish around you, enjoying interconnecting with this underwater realm. And it was a good experience shooting the episode, and a good experience kind of seen people's reaction to it.
We've had a couple of guests, David Ochua,
Yeah.
his episode is just about to come out, and Richard Leonard, and they both talk passionately about the sport, and Richard Leonard calls it the stoke.
Yeah.
And Carpe Diem to me sounds a little bit like that, and keeping that attitude of just that's that love for the sport, and it's not just about shooting fish. It's about having a good day with your mates and just enjoying the day.
Being with your friends, being in the water, it's like this. It's this overall experience that matters, I think. And I was speaking in Carpe Diem how I think it's a bad habit or it's an addiction. I'm very addicted to the second before I pull the trigger, when the prey is right in front of me and I know that it's gonna be a solid shot. Quite often I end up not pulling the trigger.
Okay.
It's like just go. And I have three or two. I have 3 videos on YouTube on my channel. It's called the Grouper Family Reunion.
Okay.
The grouper is probably the most sought after species in the Mediterranean, and right now the season starts when they mate. So they come all together in huge groups. They form, I don't know, let's say 20, 30, 50 different fish. They swim
Yep.
together. And at the time, because the hormones are probably running high, there is all this drama and all the love is in the air. They come very
Yeah.
close. And these videos, the fish just come right at your face and they look at you, and because they're very curious. I don't take the shot, and I would strongly suggest people not to take the shot when it's the mating season of the fish, because they're just too easy to get, and it's a bit unfair.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I'm surprised that there's no sort of legislation to prevent people from shooting the fish during their mating season.
well, there is, for example, in Cyprus, we have a 2-month period when you shouldn't shoot the fish. However, there are 200 people, and let's say 50 of them go diving on a certain day, and they dive around. The coastline is 150 kilometers, so you can never control it. I think enforcing something doesn't usually work. And what we try to do now, or what I try to do with my students, for example, is I try to get them started with this culture of not shooting fish. It's not. I don't shoot the grouper quite often because I know that I shouldn't, but I don't shoot it because I value the fish itself, and I think it should live for a bit longer, that certain fish. And I think this is what should be in the mind of Spearos. It's not that we don't shoot groupers because it's illegal, but we don't want to shoot them because we just don't want to. We don't think it's right to shoot them at that certain time. But it's
Yeah, I
fun.
agree. I like that, trying to change a culture and instill a culture of sort of honour for the fish and
Bit of custodianship of the ocean.
yeah, a bit of stewardship. And look, I think you're right. Cod, we call them cod here, grouper, same thing. They're a fish with a lot of character, and like you look at them, they're just gnarly. They're great. They are great to eat.
Oh yeah.
But they sometimes they're that dumb. It's not funny, and
Yeah.
you know.
They sort of come out of their hole and bark at you like a dog.
That's
You
true.
know what I mean? It's just too easy.
Yeah, we sort of have our own rules on the boat now. Like once we get one or two on the boat, it's kind of like, okay, guys, that's enough cod. We're
Okay.
going to move on.
There is also
But they're self-imposed.
well, I think it should be this way. Plus, there is this. It's not as evident in your waters, but there is it was a academic paper by one Greek guy. It's called the shifting baseline phenomena. If let's say we take a spot with a lot of groupers, and if we were to shoot the biggest fish is always the male. If we were to shoot the biggest fish, the second biggest female is gonna turn to become a male. So eventually over the period of time, the sex change is very rapid. So the smaller and smaller fish become males, and the groupers, they stop growing as big as they were back in the day. I might have not put it very clearly, but it's called the shifting baselines phenomena, and there is quite a plenty of information on the internet. People don't know about it. They keep shooting groupers, and this is one of the reasons why my partner, he doesn't like the idea, but he still follows it. We don't shoot if we're at a spot and we see only one big fish. We usually just let it live. So if we see 2, 3, yeah, you could shoot one, but there must be a big fish at any certain spot. That's my perspective.
Cool. I'll try and link up that article in the show notes for people that are interested in having a read about that. And if you have any other articles like that, just send them on.
Okay, sure.
That'd be cool.
I would love to.
So I was just going to ask you quickly about awareness. Now, in your video, sort of, what are some things because I know for a lot of noobs, it's something that a lot of Spearos develop over time.
Yes.
But what sort of pointers do you give to guys starting out to help them develop spearfishing awareness?
Well, I think all of us should. There are two sides of awareness, and one should be awareness towards the outside, so outside of your body, and one should focus on the inside. If we start with the inside, you should always. Well, it comes with experience, as you said, but you should focus on how your body reacts to the water, to the dives, to spearfishing, to your progress. You should learn not to push your body too much, and you should know what your weak points are and you should try to develop them. I think that's for sure. You should know what's going on inside your own body, because this is the most valuable tool you could ever have. Awareness towards the outside is, again, you should know what your environment is. You should pay attention to your environment. And of course, if you learn how to read the environment, if you know the fish behavior, if you learn to understand everything, if you learn to understand the currents, your spearfishing is going to be much more effective. If you understand how the fish react to amberjacks, you will instantly know there is an amberjack. So you have this margin which is on your side. You could dive earlier and you could be more ready to shoot the fish. And again, well, just like I've said earlier, I don't think that the sea is like a bank and it keeps giving credits. The sea keeps giving, but we should control our taking. And well, you should pay attention to the environment. It's mega important if you want to continue diving 10, 20 years from now.
Yeah. Cool. Good advice. All right, Pedro, are you there?
See, it's time for Noob Spearos Fast 5 Facts. Ay.
All right, so Pedro's...
Hola, Pedro!
So it's time for the Fast 5 Facts, Anvar. So Fast 5 Facts is where we ask you to give our audience 5 pieces of advice about, what you would have liked to have had starting out. What advice would you like to have had starting out?
Okay, one of the most important, I would think, is to seek knowledge and to continue learning. If you ever think you know too much, basically this is the stop of your development, and you're not going to get any better. So if there is a problem or you want to know something, seek knowledge actively. There is internet, there is the Noob Spearo podcast, there is the Deep Spearfishing. There are tons of different alternatives, and you should try. Let's be real. In our age, it's easy to kind of speak with people. There is Facebook, there is YouTube, there is whatever. So seek knowledge. This is the tip number 1. The tip number 2 would be look after your equipment. Yes, I know I'm a bit lazy myself, and I think, I dived yesterday, so I don't really need to wash my suit. But over time, it accumulates, and you're going to have to buy a new suit. You'll have to buy a new gun. You'll have to get a new mask. And let's be real. You don't want a fin to break when you're in the water. You don't want your rubbers to snap when you're in the water. So unless you take care of your kit quite regularly, you will never know what's up with it, what's the conditions.
Cool.
The tip number 3 would be to try to understand the sea. The sea is a unique system, and we are just the elements which are in the sea, and you cannot enforce your own rules there. So you have to try to learn with the sea. The currents, the fish behavior, the visibility, the temperature, the thermocline, the waves, the boats, everything. You have to learn how it all works. You have to understand the system and adapt your diving to it.
That's good.
Number 4.
Number 4, it's about equipment. I think that people shouldn't focus. The people shouldn't think that the most expensive is the best. Yes, higher price usually translates to higher quality, but it's not always the case. And then there is the rule of diminishing returns.
Oh, accountant speak. I love it.
There is the $200 fins, let's say fiberglass or composite fins or carbon fiber, and then you would find some €400 sets of fins. Well, they could be better. They probably are better. However, will you ever understand the difference? Nah, probably I will not, nor most of us will. Maybe if you're a hardcore mega deep diver, you will say, yeah, this is 3 grams lighter and I really need this edge. Yes. Is it always the case? Not really.
Yeah, cool.
And the last bit would be, this is what I kind of faced, and this is where I spent a lot of money and I spent a lot of nerves, but I think you should always focus on yourself first and then the equipment. So first, focus on improving yourself, and then when the need comes, improve your equipment. Okay. You should grow. It's like an evolution process. You shouldn't buy a very long 200 centimeter gun if you think it looks cool. Rather, when you feel that your older gun it doesn't cut it anymore, and you kind of got everything out of it, and you must make a step, and then you change your gun, for example, or your fins or anything else. Just like I said in Carpe Diem, it's your technique that defines you, and it's not your equipment. So you could have it's like the cycling craze. Do you guys have cycling craze in Australia now, or it's already?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
We do.
Here it's blooming. People get those hardcore, mega expensive bikes. Everyone's dressed nice.
We call them we call them mammals over here. Middle-aged men in lycra.
Okay, yeah, same here. And I would want to believe that our sport, spearfishing and freediving, it's a bit deeper mentally, and we don't just get flashy stuff because we think it looks flashy. Rather, we get it because we think we need it.
Cool.
Very good advice, Zach.
What's that French cycling race? Like
Tour de France.
Tour de France. Yeah, anyway, like I'm right into my cycling, Anvar. When Tour de France happens on TV over here,
Yeah.
seriously, like the roads on a Saturday morning and a Sunday morning are just clogged full of cyclists, and then a month after it's all died back down again. It's just your hardcores.
Well,
but
on one hand, it's pretty cool. At least there is some motivation to go out and meet new people and do something with, well, our own body. But I think it should be sustainable. You should actually want to do it on Wednesday and not only Saturday and Sunday.
Turbo was down with it until he realised there was exercise involved. If it was just wearing lycra with other blokes and maybe slapping each other's bums, he would be there every week without fail. But because unfortunately there's work,
I'm going to slap your bum.
he's out.
Right, so to wrap those 5 pieces of advice up, we have seek knowledge and continue your learning.
Yes.
Number 2, look after your equipment or it's going to cost you money in repairs.
Of course.
3, learn to understand the sea and its conditions, its currents, its waves, its thermoclines, all those kinds of things. Number 4, shop wisely. Expensive gear is not always the best.
Yes.
And shop to your skill level.
Hang on, and he gave a great economic principle there, the law of diminishing returns. I just want to put a little highlight on that. Well done,
There you
Anvar. I
go.
like
I
that.
gotcha.
Number 5, focus on self-improvement rather than your equipment and match your equipment to your skills.
Yeah,
That's good.
that's correct. I think those are enough to start with. And these are those holistic advices that I could give. I could say, for example, that the thicker shaft is usually better because I just love the thicker shafts.
I've heard that as well, actually, a lot.
Well, but then it doesn't really imply to most of the situations.
He did pick up your joke there, Turbo. Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, you're right. And like I've gone between a 7mm shaft and a 7.5mm shaft.
On a good day.
And look, the 7.5 doesn't travel as well. You've got to overpower it, and it is good for taking down bigger fish because there's just sort of.
I like them.
Yeah. I've never used an 8mm shaft. What do you use, Anvar?
I've just put an 8 on my roller, and holy crap! It flies. It's mega.
Yeah.
Which
Man,
guns are you
I
guys
used to-
using?
Rob Allen, shamelessly, love him.
Yeah.
How long?
Sorry?
How long? What are the model lengths?
I use a 1.2 as my
okay.
go-to gun, and if the water's good, a 1.4.
Okay.
We can get away like a good dirty water gun here is a meter, and then guys sometimes have cray guns for like little guns, and then biggest we generally use over here might be a 1.5, but generally you find guys using between a 1.1 and a 1.4.
Okay.
But what about you guys?
Well, here in the Med, since most of the hunting is done around the rocks or under the rocks, as I told you earlier, most guns are 100, 110, 115. I have this. I'm in love with rollers. I think the rollers are the future, and I have this C4. I got it a few weeks. Well, no, it's a couple of months old now. The Urukai 105, sexy as hell. I mean, I just fell in love with the body. Honestly, I told you not to go for the most expensive, but I was like, I just want it. Just give it to me.
How much did you pay for this gun?
Okay, listen. This is the funny story. I bought it from the official C4 tester. The guy was working with the C4, so my gun is the prototype of the Urukai. So it's like the second model built. I got it for 450
That's
euro,
cool.
and I think it's a steal. There were a couple of shafts, there were a couple of meters of reel of rubbers.
Yeah.
So, and the guy was quite good. Like we were speaking on the same level, talking about coefficients, like we do with you with the rule of diminishing returns. So I was like, it's a good purchase.
Yeah, cool, man. Oh, it's good to hear a story behind the gun. So, I guess we were actually going to start talking crucial kit for noobs. So, I mean, we're sort of already there. So, roller guns. While we're there, can we talk a bit more about roller guns?
Oh yeah, sure. I think that roller guns is honestly the future of the sport because you have the same gun and it's much more power, less recoil. Well, you probably heard all the good things about.
No.
Sorry.
Yeah, keep going, mate.
Yeah. And I fell in love with the rollers a couple of years ago. We were building our own guns, but honestly, since my last gun was a Trigons. Have you heard of the Trigons? A Greek brand.
Yep.
Quite expensive. So, but well, a decent gun. It's a very well-built gun. I was using it with a 3 17.5 millimeter bends and a 8 millimeter shaft.
Wow.
So it's like a powerhouse.
That was a man's gun.
Yeah, but this is the thing. My hand would hurt because of the recoil, but I would think, it's a man's gun. And all the people look at 3 bands, and I'm like, what are you using? 2-banded gun? Come on, get a life. Look at it. So at some point, I thought, okay, let's give it a try. I modified it to be a roller, and I never looked back. Yes, it's not as much power as a 3 17 millimeter bands, but there is precision. There is just a straight point shooting. There is no recoil, and it's just nice and lovely. So my C4 now, we made it a roller too. It's an easy procedure. You can do it in your friend's garage. The tools that I used, it has a part of the fin which I broke many years ago. There is like a DIY shop screw. So it's very simple. I don't know, $10 to make it if you do it clever. And the performance is just amazing. 8 millimeter shaft just flies.
Awesome.
So what's that? That's your own design, is it?
Yeah.
Wow. Have you put that up on?
It's on
Facebook. Is that up on the web?
It's on Facebook, and I'll send you the link of the photos.
Fantastic.
What I'm proud of is that all our previous guns. I have a friend, a very good friend of mine. We both have this engineering set of mind, so we try to do stuff with our own hands. But usually stuff works, but it's ugly because we just don't go for aesthetics. This one, I actually made few prototypes, and it's probably the most pretty thing I did with my hands in my life. So you could make it look nice too.
Cool. Hey. All right. Hey, just quickly, what's the funniest story you have out spearfishing?
The funniest story. Well, my funniest. Let's put it that way. My funniest day was one day at sea, and it was the hardest day in my life at sea. It was funny because it was so difficult. Basically, I thought that it was the only day in my life when the sea was like, guys, I don't want you here today. Just get out, go home. But since we are mentally stubborn, we were thinking, no, we shall do it. And I've got it written here. I'm just going to give you some details. I'm not going to go all into the details, but I shot an AJ. It was like a 10 kilo. I shot it in the tummy because it was a very weird shot. It got stuck in the rocks, it left. So it went off the shaft. I was a bit sad, but I thought, okay, well, next time, just try to take a better shot. This was the dive. It was an hour after we started, the beginning of the day. All right, no problem. We go to a different spot. I'm taking my friend's gun. I'm going down to the rock is 36, and it drops down to 42, 41. I see a big grouper down there. I aim at a grouper with my friend's gun. I shoot, the mono line gets stuck. The shaft travels right in the face of the fish. It stops, goes back, the fish goes into the rock. I think, okay, not a problem. But mentally, I'm starting to burn. There is this stupid feeling inside the mind. It's like, that's not your day, just go home. But as I say, it's all right. We can live with it. Let's go further. I'm getting a smaller gun. I see a fish. I dived at another place. I'm making a dive. Same thing. It's another gun. I'm going for the fish, and the fish are the groupers that they're just laying in front of me in the sand. I miss like 2-3 fish just like by 1 centimeter. I totally blame it on my motivation because it was in pieces by then.
Yeah.
All right, we keep moving. I take a gun, another gun, a shorter gun. We have this cave gun because we see a very good fish. I go down, I shoot the fish in the cave. It's around 39. I start coming up. The reel gets stuck. It doesn't open.
Oh.
Visibility is 30 meters, so you don't even see where the rock was. I drop the gun. I come up. My friend starts to dive. He keeps diving. I keep diving to get the fish. The reel is badly stuck, so there is no way of getting the gun out. At some point, he gets a very bad sinus squeeze, so he's not diving anymore. Another guy, he was with us, he gets a samba, same fish, same next day, he's not diving anymore. And I'm like, okay, come on, you gotta do it. At this time, do you guys use variable weights?
Nah.
I don't like the idea. I think it's too easy. But at that time, it was the end of the day. We were long overdue. We were long after the time we were supposed to be out. We started using variable weights. So it's a lot of weight on a belt. The belt is hooked to a buoy. You dive with you don't kick. You just go down. You drop the weight. You come up. I made few dives. One of the variable weights gets stuck in the fishing lines on the bottom. So we have to use another one. And honestly, just kept going and going. And there were a few other very ugly things happening that day. But the cherry on the pie, the cherry cake was, we got the fish out. Everyone's happy. All the variable weights are in the boat. We try to roll the equipment out of the sea. And the boat is, let's say, 10 meters from me. And my partner is 10 meters to the other side. So I'm in the middle. I'm between the boat and my partner. None of us have the weights because they were used as a variable weights and they're sitting in the boat. And I look to the boat. I look at the direction of the boat and I see that the fish stringer line was broken. And all our base fish, it slowly sinks to the bottom. Yeah, the funny bit, like we're already on the brink of the breakdown, on nervous breakdown, and I know that it's only me because my partner is further. I have to make a dive. I have a 7mm suit, no weight. So I try to pull with my hand, feet, I kick as hard as I can. I forgot to equalize. I grab the fish, I come out, I'm like, dude, I think we gotta just get out, put the boat on dry land, and just sit and, I don't know, have a drink. This was a very funny experience, in my point of view. The worst, the funnier story it is in the end.
Oh yeah, it's a real story too, you know, like you just have bad days, Anvar. Just quickly, we're going to have to wrap this one up, but what if our audience you wanted them to take an action, what would it be? You want them to come and have a look at your Deep Spearfishing Encyclopedia on YouTube?
I would definitely suggest the listeners to go check out the Deep Spearfishing Encyclopedia. Please don't be very scared with the languages I choose, because one part is in English, one is in Greek, one is in Italian, one is in Turkish, one is in one other language, I forgot which. In Russian, in Russian. But
no Kazakhstani videos?
There's always captions, and you can choose whichever language you want. Yes.
That's good. I'm going to check them all out. I'll link them up in your show notes, so if people want to have a look, it'll be on Anvar Mufasalov page on Noob Spearo, and they can come and check.
Yeah, I'm pretty keen on checking out this rollerhead.
Yeah, cool.
That sounds great. Yeah.
All right. Hey, thanks for coming on the show, Anvar. We've had a ball.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Cool.
Thanks for listening today, Noob Spearo. If you'd like to find out any more information from today's guest, then head over to noobspearo.com.
We really appreciate you guys as listeners. Without you, we couldn't do the show. So if you want to help us out, leave us a review on iTunes or head on over to noobspearo.com and sign up for our newsletter. We won't send you crap.
So that's all from us. A big hooroo. We hope to see you soon.
Shrek over and out.